In this video, we are going to continue graphing lines. This is part 3 of 3 in our line graphing table equation series. Let's begin. So we're looking at like different linear relationships between like equations, tables, and actual graphs. So here's an equation. Here's my table. We're going to need to graph it afterward. So let's start with this one. Study the equation. What is the slope? What is the y-intercept? Now, if you remember, equations are always written in y equals mx plus b form, where x is the slope and b is the y-intercept, or plus b is a y-intercept. So the slope for our first line is actually like, it looks like there's no slope, but there is kind of an invisible number there. What number is that? Well, it's 1x. So my slope is 1. My y-intercept is going to be that constant, and it is 2, positive 2, because there's a plus in front of it. Let's look at the slope of my second line. That's easy. 3 is being multiplied by x, so that is my m, plus 2 is my y-intercept. So 3 and 2. And my third equation, negative 2 is my slope, and positive 2 is my y-intercept. So negative 2 and 2. So let's complete the table for each equation. I'm just going to write 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, just like they said. Do that with all of them. All right, so for my first one, my first equation is going to be this equation. So x plus 2, y equals x plus 2. My second equation is going to be 3x plus 2. So y equals 3x plus 2. And my third equation is going to be, let's do it in red, I suppose. Y equals negative 2x plus 2. All right, let's figure out when x is 0, what does y equal? Well, when x is 0, 0 plus 2, well, that's just 2. Let's look at the next one. When x is 1, y equals 1 plus 2, that's 3. When x is 2, 2 plus 2 is 4. And from here, we can basically figure out our pattern. 2 to 3, 3 to 4, we're just adding 1 each time, right? So 1 more than 4 is 5. It's a weird looking 5. 1 more than 5 is 6. 1 more than 6 is 7. All right, let's look at my next equation. We have 3x plus 2, so y equals 3 times x, and in this case, x is 0. 3x plus 2. 0 plus 2 equals 2. Y equals 3 times 1 plus 2. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5. Let's do the next one. Y equals 3 times 2 plus 2. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 plus 2 is 8. Let's see if we can figure out the pattern. 2 to 5 and 5 to 8. What's going on with our numbers? We're adding 3, right? So add 3 more to 8. We should have 11. Then 14. Then 17. Let's do our next one. I guess I should have done purple instead. I'm going to do purple instead. All right. So y equals negative 2 times 0 plus 2. Negative 2 times 0 is 0, plus 2 is 2. Next, y equals negative 2 times 1 plus 2. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. Negative 2 plus 2, so that's 2 and negative 2, that equals 0. And then next, y equals negative 2 times 2 plus 2. That's negative 4. Negative 4 plus 2 is, I'm going to have a negative answer, negative 2. So what's our pattern? Seems to be going down by 2 every time. So from negative 2, 2 to 0, 0 to negative 2, negative 2 to negative 4, negative 4 to negative 6, negative 6 to negative 8. So those are our ordered pairs. So for our first graph, we've got 0, 2, 1, 3, 2, 4. I'm going to go 0, 2. I'm going to assume, well, gosh, I wish they actually gave me a grid to work off of, but they didn't, so I'm going to assume, let's do this. All right, 0, 2. 0, 2. And 1, 3. 2, 4. I believe those were the points. Yeah, 3, 5. It looks like it goes up 1 over 1 every time. So should look like this. If I take that pattern backwards, it looks like this. Let's draw a line through that. Hopefully I can draw a straight enough line. There you go. That is line A. Let's do line B in blue. We've got 0, 2, 1, 5, 2, 8. 0, 2, 0, and 2. Same point. 1 and 5, 2 and 8. 1, 2, 3. And it looks like it goes up by 3. Up by 3 over 1, up by 3 over 1. And then if I take that one backwards, that pattern backwards, 1, 2, 3 over 1, down 3, over 1, down 3, over 1. All right, and then we just draw a line through our pattern or our points. That's line B. Let's take a look at line C. Let's do that in purple. So 0, 2, 1, 0. 0, 2, same point. 1, 0. And then 2, negative 2, 2, negative 2, 3, negative 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like I'm just going down by 2, over 1, down 2, over 1, down 2, over 1, down 2. So our pattern, and I'm going to do the opposite, going the other way, up 2, oops, sorry, right there, not that one. Then up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. So my line looks like this. Kind of like that. I did a pretty poor job of my line, but it's okay. That's my C line. So what do I notice about these 3 lines? Well, they are they all cross. They all cross at 0, 2, or they all intersect at 0, 2, which is this point right here. They all share that point. What do the equations have in common? Well, let's see. Let's look at the equations. Y equals x plus 2, 3x plus 2, negative 2x plus 2. Oh, they all have a y-intercept in common. Same y-intercept. All right. Let's take a look at the next family of lines. Remember, it's y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is our y-intercept. Okay, it looks like I'm missing something there. Is the 5 going to be my slope or my y-intercept? Well, my slope is always attached to the x. It's being multiplied by the x, right? Is 5 being multiplied by x? It's not. There is no slope right here. So we say the slope is 0. Y-intercept is the constant that's by itself. That means it's 5. For our second equation, also no slope. Our y-intercept is right here. It's b. That's 2. Third equation, again, no slope, but our y-intercept is negative 3. So if you were to fill out the tables, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, when y equals 5, or for my next one, when y equals 2, or when y equals negative 3. So if we were to put, when x equals 0, what does y equal? Well, there's no x in here, so basically what that means is y basically is always going to equal 5, regardless. And when x equals 2, there's x equals 0 or 1 or 2. There is no x over here. Because y equals 2, it's always going to equal 2 no matter what x is. And the same goes for our third line. When x is 0, y is still -3 because there is no x in the equation, so it's going to equal -3 the whole way down. And if you graph these lines, you are going to get basically horizontal lines. All the lines are horizontal, and they have the same slope, which is 0. Let's go ahead and start on, or start looking at some other kinds of problems. We've got this problem where they want us to label the graph and plot 3, 2. So here we go. 3, 2 is, we want to go 3 to the right because that's the x number, and 2 up. And that is point 3, 2. They want us to draw a ruler, draw a line through point 3, 2 with a slope of 2. So we want to draw a line with a slope of 2 that passes through point 3, 2. Well, slope is, if you remember, it's the change in y over change in x, also known as rise over run, which is, in this case, they say it's 2. Now, slope is easiest understood. When you want to graph, it's best to turn your slope into some kind of fraction. So how do we turn 2 into a fraction? Well, 2 is a fraction. The whole number 2 is a fraction, is 2 over 1. So that means my rise is going to be 2 and my run is going to be 1. So we're going to take this point and we're going to rise 2 and run 1. So we're going to go up 2 and we're going to run 1, which means our next point is right over here. And if we go up 2 and over 1 again, we get our next point, and then up 2 and over 1. And if we want, let's go ahead and fill those out. And if we want to find out what points are, to the left, we would go down 2 over 1, and then down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1. So we would figure out those points, in this case right here, right here, right here, right down there. So what's our line look like? It's just a straight line that runs through all those points. Ta-da. Pretty great. All right, look at the graph. What is the y-intercept? The y-intercept is this point right here. It's where the line touches the y-axis. That's the B. And that point is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 0, -4. So that means my y-intercept is -4. Because x is always going to equal 0 at the y-intercept. What's the equation of the line? Well, if I know my slope up here is 2 over 1, or just 2. So if my slope is 2, if m is 2, and my y-intercept, my b, is -4, my equation would just be y equals 2x minus 4. Or you might say plus -4. They want us to complete the table now when x is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's do that. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. When x is 0, what does y equal? Well, we could use our equation, or we could even use our graph and just say, well, when x is 0, y is -4, which makes sense because that's what a y-intercept is. It's when x equals 0. When x is 1, what does y equal? Let's look at our graph. When x is 1, y equals, it's -2. When x is 2, what does y equal? Y equals 0. We could even use the equation to do that. When x is 3, that's 2 times 3, that's 6, and 6 minus 4 is 2. And once you have enough points, you can probably figure out the pattern, which is like what's happening with the y term every time. It's adding 2 every time, right? So after 2, you should have 4, and after that, you should have 6. And does that make sense? Is it true? Do we have a point at 4, 4? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We do. Do we have a point at 5, 6? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We do. So this is accurate. Is it linear or nonlinear? Is it a straight line? Yes, it is. Therefore, it is linear. Is it ascending, descending, or horizontal? Well, if we read it from left to right, it is going upward. it is ascending. And notice everything with a positive slope, positive as in 2, positive 2, is going to be ascending. Anything with a negative slope is descending. Horizontal means that there is no slope. All right. You can try the next one on your own. It is a little bit tricky, but we start off by plotting point 2, 1. So 2 to the right, up 1. So that is 2, 1. And then it has a slope of -2. So if slope is -2, what is the rise over run? Well, -2 as a fraction is -2 over 1. So how do we do that? Well, if I rise -2, rising 2 means I go up 2. Rising -2 means I do the opposite of that, which means I want to go down 2. And I want to go over 1. You may, just to kind of keep it simple, always go to the right. So the rise is -2, and the run is 1. Rise -2, run 1, and you want to extend that pattern backwards as well. Draw a line through those. Anyways, go ahead and fill out the table on your own, draw the line on your own, and figure out what the y-intercept is, the equation of the line, and all that other good stuff. This one's a little bit tricky as well. We've got a graph with a point at 3, 5. That's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that is point 3, 5. And it has a slope of 0. What does that mean? That means it's a flat line. It means it's a flat line that runs through this point, which means it should look like this. Ta-da! So, if I filled out the table, when x is 0, y is 5. When x is 1, y is also 5. And when x is 2, y is also 5. So it's basically going to be 5s all the way down. Go ahead and use this information to write your y-intercept and your equation of the line. To figure out your y-intercept and the equation of the line. Remember, the y-intercept is where this line touches the x-axis. Or you can also know, hey, that's a y-intercept. It's whenever x is 0. What does y equal? All right, let's go to the next one. All right, so this one is kind of easier. So we're going to do this one, which is a little bit trickier. They give you a line, and they are asking, what is the slope, what is the y-intercept, what is the equation of the line? Let's figure out the slope first. To find the slope of a line, you look for 2 corners. Like, what's a corner? Well, when this line right here touches one of the corners of the box, so for example, like this is a corner, this is a corner, this is a corner. What's not a corner? Like this would not be a corner, or like this wouldn't be a corner, or like that. But when this line right here touches a corner, and thankfully, this line actually touches every corner. So we could take any 2 points, like let's go ahead and go with this one and this one. And we ask ourselves, what is the slope? What is the rise and the run? How do I get from this point to that point? Well, I go down, my change in y, my rise is not 1, it's -1 because I have to go down. And my run is 1, positive 1. It's always going to be positive. You always want to go to the right, basically. So my slope is -1 over 1, or just -1. All right, so my slope is -1. My y-intercept is where this touches the graph, which is where it touches the y-axis. In this graph, this line touches the y-axis right there. So I'm going to use a brighter color. Right over here. That is my B, and what is that point? It's 1, 2, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. B is 0, 5, or in the case of this, it is 5. The equation of the line, remember, y equals mx plus b. Y equals, my slope is -1, my x is x, and then my y-intercept is b, so we put plus 5. Complete the table for when x equals 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When x is 0, let's take a look. Y is 5, which is the y-intercept. When x is 1, y is 4. When x is 2, y is 1, 2, 3. And you can see the pattern from 5 to 4, 4 to 3, we are subtracting 1 every time. So 2, 1, 0. Is it linear or non-linear? It is a straight line, so it is linear. Is it ascending, descending, or horizontal? Well, if we go from left to right, it is going downward, so that means it is descending. So with that information, try this one. It's got a positive slope. And in this one, just to kind of get you started, when you choose a corner, like this right there is not a corner. It's like a line in the middle of, like, you know, not whole numbers. So you want to choose areas where the line runs through whole numbers. So like this one and this one would be good. And then like you're basically, how do I get from here to here? I go 1 up 2, and I go right 1, so 2 over 1, and that would be my slope. So that's how you get started on that. Okay. Next one, right here, we've got this line that just kind of cuts sideways. What is our slope? Well, we know that a horizontal line has a slope of 0. What is our y-intercept? It's right over there. That is 0.0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 0, 7. So our y-intercept is 7. The equation of the line would be y equals 0x plus 7. 0x is just 0, and y equals 0 plus 7 is just, you know, no reason to write 0 plus 7. So y equals 7 is going to be our equation. So when we complete the table, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, y equals 7. Oops, when y equals 7, that means it's going to equal 7 all the way down. And you could even see it in the graph, 1, 7, 2, 7, 3, 7, 4, 7, 5, 7, 6, 7, even going backwards to the negative x's. Is it linear or nonlinear? It is still linear because it's a straight line, and it is also horizontal because it is a flat, zero-sloped line. So let's now get to, we've got 2 more problems. The first I'd like to do with you. The second one I'd like you to try on your own. So the first one, let's read the story. Sabrina wants to buy a CD player. She has $2. She decides to save $3 from her allowance every week. So she has $2, and she wants to save from her allowance every week. Complete a table and graph for Sabrina's savings during 10 weeks. So the X number we're going to start with is 0, not 1, but 0. At the very beginning, how much does she have? Does she have $0? No, she has $2 at the very beginning. And it says she decides to save $3 every week, so $3 from her allowance every week. So after 1 week, she should have 5 because she saves $3 more. And after 2 weeks, she saves $3 more, so she should have 8. 3 weeks, she should have 11. 4 weeks, she should have 13. 5 weeks, she should have 16. And we could even graph this right now. 0, 2 is 0, 2. That's the beginning. 1, 5 is 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 8, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you can see the pattern. You're going up 3 over 1, up 3 over 1, up 3 over 1. So Sabrina graph looks like that. What is the slope? My slope is up 3 plus 3 over 1 plus 1, so that's 3 over 1, which is simplified to just 3. What part of the word problem gives you slope? Well, you'll know it's a slope if it's some kind of rate, like it's $3 from her allowance every week. So I would write it's when it says $3 every week. Oops. Because that means this is an amount that kind of changes her total. What is the y-intercept? The y-intercept is where x is 0. You could find it right here. It's 2. Or you could find right here. It's also 2. The y-intercept is 2. What part of the word problem gives you the y-intercept? It says how much she has at the beginning. So it's not saying, hey, it's $2 and it increases every week or goes down every week. It's just saying she has $2. So we would say she has $2, which indicates that, like, that's kind of the start. What is the equation that represents Sabrina's savings? Well, if we've got a slope of 3 and a y-intercept of 2, it should be y equals slope, which is 3x, plus y-intercept, which is 2. What does the x-axis represent? We could figure this out by looking at the table. It says so right here. The x-axis is the number of weeks. So it is the number of weeks. What's the y-axis represent? Let's look over here. Her savings. And I'd like you to try the next one on your own about Sabrina saving $12 and wanting to spend $2 a week on candy. Remember, don't forget to start off at 0 for your number of weeks, not at 1. Go ahead and try some of those other problems on your own.